Alright, in this video we're going to be doing some polish work as well as adding setting it up so that when we have more than two weapons in our hand, we replace the current weapon that's in our hand whenever we purchase the wall weapon. So on top of that, currently when you buy a wall weapon and you go to scroll wheel to the next weapon, you sometimes will have to do it twice because your weapon index doesn't correspond to the latest weapon, so to speak. So we're going to resolve that as well. So whenever you purchase a new weapon and it gets added and you scroll wheel, it's gonna, it's gonna be very fluent if that makes sense. So all we're doing right now is we're adding the weapon to the weapon array. So let's go ahead and set it up so that it also want us to when we purchase the weapon, it automatically will switch to it. So in order to do that, we already have everything set up. All we have to do is current weapon equals weapon and then call our onRep. So onRep attach weapon. Everything's already handled. See how convenient? So now what we're going to do is if weapon array is greater than or equal to 2, well, greater than or equal to 2, words are hard. What we're going to want to do, weapon array dot to get the size. What we're going to want to do is remove our current weapon. So we have our weapon index. So weapon array, weapon index. I want to copy this. What we want to do is we want to flat out destroy the weapon. So we're going to do destroy. And then we want to replace it. So we're going to set that index equal to the passed in weapon, like so. And that's all. So next up, we're going to do an else because we do not want to add the weapon to the array. Otherwise, that would just create a bunch of empty spots or, well, a bunch of elements that have a pointer to the same weapon, I mean. So we have that set up. So here, now we're going to refer to the weapon index. So when we have two weapons in hand, we purchase another one, it's simply going to replace the one we currently have. So we don't need to alter our index. But when we add a weapon, we do. So what we're going to do is, if we're adding it, we're going to do weapon index equals weapon array dot num minus 1. So it's going to be the length of the array minus 1. So it's going to correspond to the index that that the weapon is on. So then whenever we, perform the attach weapon and all that kind of stuff, then we switch to it, we're going to be on that correct index. So now we can go ahead and load it up and give it a try. Good old 10-second hang. Alrighty. So I have the 1911. Now nothing's happening when I go to switch. I buy the STG. I can now switch fluently. It doesn't have that little double scroll where you have to scroll twice. So now I want to get rid of the pistol and buy the M1 carbine. So I buy it. So now I have the STG and the M1 carbine, like so. So that's set up and working properly. So now let's just check it out in multiplayer real quick with two clients. We're going to have the client do it. So he's going to buy the STG. Now has the STG and the pistol. Now he's going to buy the M1 carbine. Oh, I see an issue. So something is not quite right there. But for the most part, we at least know that it's working on the server. So I think it's due to our weapon index not being replicated. So when we go to override the weapon, our weapon index is not replicated, so that way the server doesn't know what it's on. So it's always going to be kind of 0 to the server, but it will be an actual valid number on the client. So what we're going to do is we're going to replicate it just to the server. So we're going to open up our character-based header as well as our CPP. We're going to find our weapon index right here. And we're simply just going to set it to be replicated. Let's go to our get lifetime replicated props. And get rid of that line there. And we're going to start replicate weapon index. Now we want this to be the condition of owner only, because other clients don't need to know what it is. So do rep lifetime underscore condition. Then add the third parameter, cond underscore owner only. So now we need to pretty much control the weapon index from the client as well. So we alter it in our switch next weapon. What we're going to be doing is we're going to pass in the weapon index to the server. So server underscore switch weapon. Going to take in a new parameter. So int 32, new weapon index. Add that to our validate and implementation. Same thing over in our CPP. And we need to pass it in when we call it. So we're going to pass in weapon index. Same thing here. So whenever we are our switch weapon functions, we're going to be passing in our new weapon index. And on the server, we're also going to want to set it. So here we're going to do weapon index equals new weapon index and compile. So hopefully this should kind of keep it in sync between the server and the client. That way it knows what weapon to destroy, what element to add the new weapon into for the array, and all that kind of stuff. Alrighty. Let it finish up its little hang dealio. And give it a try. By the STG. When I have the STG in the pistol, get the M1 carbine, we have the M1 carbine, and the STG. So let's confirm that the client sees it from the server. So by the STG with the server, same thing with the M1 carbine. And yeah, everything is now synced up. So our wall weapons are good to go. The only thing we need to do next would be set it up so we cannot purchase the same weapon. So if we already have an STG, we do not want to be able to repurchase the STG. Instead, what we're going to want to do is we want to actually have the option to purchase ammo. But that'll be done in the future. So next video, we're just going to limit it so we cannot purchase a weapon we already have. So now that that's over, as usual, if you want to support me, my Patreon is linked in the description. And if you have any questions, my Discord server is also there. And yeah, I will see you in the next one.